Hello. This is Adrian Igo, Capricorntigress Astrology, a look inside, and happy Halloween! Happy Halloween! I am a gypsy fortune teller. That's my Halloween costume. So anyway, I am now doing Taurus. Gonna look over what I've got here, and we'll see what's going on. I want to preface this by saying I'm having a little bit of difficulty doing this particular reading thing because my husband is a Taurus, and he has a Taurus moon, and I have a Taurus moon, and my husband left me. So as I read this, I guess I'm going to get some answers myself. So the first thing I see immediately when I look at the month, of course, for Taurus, is that Uranus is in Taurus. And so it would be in the solar first house. And of course, it's making Taurus people do some things that they wouldn't normally do. Now, luckily, it's going to go out of Taurus and back into Aries. And I'm just going to check and see when that is, because I know that's coming up pretty soon. But that's not today. So let me just make sure I got my calendar here. Okay. So I'm just trying to remember when that's going to be. But anyway, it's Uranus retrogrades on the 6th. I knew it was going to happen. Okay, so on the 6th, Uranus will retrograde, and it will go back into Aries, but it's only going to be in Aries for a short time. So, but in the meantime, Tauruses are pretty much wrecking their lives. Now, they might not be. It's just they're doing things new and exciting. And I'll be honest with you, when this happened, for me personally, as an astrologer, I've been writing on Facebook all week. I knew it. Oh my God, I'm psychic. I knew I was right. Like I'm going to follow my intuition, because I actually told this man, since he's a Taurus, back in the summer, I said, look, in October, Venus, which is the ruling planet of Taurus, is going to go retrograde. Please don't go crazy, and don't go insane if I go crazy, because I have a Taurus moon as well. It's retrograde, and I have Venus in Scorpio. So I knew it was going to be something, right? But he's like, oh no, I love you, honey. We're going to be fine. And what did he do? It's been a hard time for Taurus. Love wise, because, especially when the Sun and Venus were in Scorpio, that's the day it happened, by the way, because it would have been opposing that Uranus, and that would have been like this 1st and 7th house axis, and it just not good. So that's something you might, you Tauruses might be looking into new things right now, new jobs, new homes, new relationships, new everything. And you might not be the person you were, or, you're changing. Now you might kind of station direct, or, stop changing or at least halt for a while when Uranus goes retrograde on the 6th of November. But just know eventually Uranus will come back, into Taurus. Even after it goes into Aries, it's coming back. And so it will be coming back through that solar first house. And so you can expect, about 7 years of change, you will change physically, and your personality may change, and you may see things differently. There's change afoot for Taurus. Just in general. The other thing that really stands out to me when I look at the month for Taurus is that Mars is sitting up in the solar 10th house. And that, that can make, there could be some anger issues, and it could make you a little aggressive, even at your job or at work or with your boss, or with, if you're the boss, you might come off a little aggressive. It's in Aquarius. So it could just mean that the things of Aquarius you're going to be pushing, and there will be action in that direction. But just know that emphasis is going to be, that action, that push is going to be in the career sector in the 10th house. For one of the other things that is standing out, in my opinion, is that there is Jupiter in the 7th house right now, and it's still in the 7th house in the sign of Scorpio, but it's at like 28 degrees or so, and it's Jupiter is getting close to going into Sagittarius, and it's going to go home because that's the natural home of Jupiter. And so when it does, that'll be going into your solar 8th house of resources and other people's money. And so you might feel like, you know, your money might get right, and you also may feel like you're going to have more sexual encounters. That could possibly be on the horizon. Another thing I'm noticing, though, is that there is Chiron and Neptune on the 11th, solar 11th house, that is. And that's in Pisces, of course. But, you know, that just might mean that there's some healing that needs to be done. And I can tell you on a personal level, I kind of exposed my husband's mask. For those who want to find it, there's little things I wrote. And so, you know, this hidden persona might be exposed. And I'm sure it's a sore point for him and for me. And so that, you know, I can see how that could affect someone's 11th house of friends. Because the 11th house to me is always things like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, even YouTube. It's, you know, it's people that we get to meet and talk with and interact with, groups, associations, friends, you know, all that online stuff. So, you know, there's going to be some things there, like with Neptune in the 11th house. It might be like either, you know, there's a false face in front of friends, or his friends might not really see the real him or you, Taurus people. And so you might not see your friends clearly either right now. So I want you to be aware of that, that there might be a little bit of, you know, confusion in the area of friends, or pain or hurt, or, you know, some healing. There's going to be some healing that might have to be done in the 11th house of friends and organizations and groups and things like that. There is a lot of power for you guys, though, in like the area of legal things and education and travel, because Pluto's in your solar 9th house and Saturn's there too. So that is an area of power in your chart. Venus is in the solar 6th house in Libra this month. And so work itself should be pretty copacetic. I mean, it should be affable, and you should be feeling very generous and gregarious at work. I would even dare say that you may find love at work. And that could even be the problem I'm going through. Maybe you found some love at work. But, you know, just know that is a possibility right now. And I wanted to make sure I mentioned that. The North Node is down in the solar 4th house, almost in the solar 3rd. So there might be some emphasis on your family and communicating with your family and things like that. So what I'm going to do now that I've done my little thing that I've done with the little chart, I'm going to just go over where the planets are actually going to be and where the transits are actually going to happen for the month of November. So on November 1st, Chiron is trying, or Jupiter is trying Chiron on the 1st of the month, tomorrow. And it's going to be an opportunity to heal old wounds. So I feel like even though it's hard that, you know, like I exposed some things that really shouldn't have been exposed, but I feel like once everything is out in the open, hopefully we can get past everything. I want to just be 100% honest with everything. And I think that if you guys practice that, like 100% honesty, you're going to have an opportunity to heal some old wounds that hurt. You know, you might be in pain right now. So you're going to have an opportunity to heal that. And so look forward to that. On November 6th, there's a couple of things going on. As I mentioned earlier, Uranus will be retrograding on the 6th of November, and it's going to enter Aries or it's already retrograde, but it's going to enter Aries. And so it's changing signs on the 6th of November. And it's believed that on election day, because it's election day, that the US is going to, regress backwards. And so, I don't know if that means we're going back to the days of slavery, or if it means that, we're going to regress back to where it's more sanity in politics. We'll see what happens on election day. We'll never know until it's over. So, but that's Uranus retrograde. That's on the 6th of November. And then also the sun enters, the sun in Scorpio is trine Neptune in Pisces on the 6th as well. So it just means there's going to be a lot of power and creativity and things like that. So you'll have power in your creativity that day. On the 7th of November, the new moon enters Scorpio. And I'm telling you something. I am so looking forward to this new moon in Scorpio. I just can't even put it into words. And I know it's going to be good for you, Taurus, in a way, even though it's opposite your sun. It's a chance to start over, maybe even not so much start over with your relationship or your marriage or your partners, but just a new feeling, a new vibe. It was very heavy and dark and emotional since this last full moon. And I'm hoping that this new moon in Scorpio is just going to give us a new start. It's going to be deep emotions, okay? Because the moon in Scorpio is intense, but maybe you can talk things out or, just things like that. So, because it's a deep emotional day, you can start new projects. It's deep introspection. It's just a new start for a lot of people that day. And so, if you're waiting to do something new, or I would put things off on till the 7th or 8th. If you want to start any new project and make sure that project is successful, wait until the 8th or 7th or 8th and start the project then, because then you'll have the power of the new moon behind you. And it's going to be a strong new moon because it's in Scorpio. Now, on the 8th, Jupiter enters Sagittarius, and that means Jupiter's home. Yeah. And Jupiter, in Sagittarius means optimism is coming back. People are going to be feeling like, okay, I've gone through the darkness. The darkness is over. It's all going to get better. Jupiter's home where he loves to be. Expect optimism, big dreams, big ideas, big things popping. It should be a good thing. And Sagittarius falls in your 8th house, or your solar 8th house anyway. So it means that you guys might get a little bit of money finally. I think you might even get money from someone else. So someone might give you money. And that could maybe get you out of a dark space. So expect something good, because something good could come, especially in the way of resources. On the 9th, Venus is trine Mars on the 9th of November. This indicates romantic harmony and inner balance. So, it should be a positive day for many people on that day, on the 9th. On the 15th, Mars enters Pisces. And, Mars is not normally where you expect Pisces. Pisces is not where you expect Mars to be normally. It falls in your 11th house. Again, that's more emphasis on those friends, groups, and associations I was talking about earlier. And the key words for the day were creative action and compassion. So maybe showing some compassion in that area. Maybe you'll, have compassion from friends, or you'll be able to show compassion to people that day. Where were we? The 15th, right? Okay, on the 16th, Mercury retrograde in Sagittarius. So again, that's the 8th house emphasis for you guys. That's more of that resource area, maybe intimate or deep partnerships. But now talking stops. Mercury retrogrades in Sagittarius. So that means any of those deep, intimate conversations that you're going to have, or issues with talking about money, or, any of those things. Mercury is going to be retrograding. So it's a time for reflection. It's time for reflection. You reflect on your resources and get your paperwork together and all that type of thing. Time for reflection. On the 16th, also, Venus goes direct in Scorpio. So love is finally going to improve. I mean, wow. I knew it was going to be bad. And I don't know how bad it was for you, Taurus, since Venus is your ruling planet. So anything could have occurred for Taurus over the last month or so. Just know that with Venus direct in Scorpio, love will improve. And with it being on your seventh house, in your solar seventh house of partnerships, relationships, marriages, hopefully your love will improve in that area. And also, it's a good day to work out relationship problems and even get married. Now, I don't know if, how many of you are planning to get married that day, but at least you can work out some of the hard issues, because I think Venus in Scorpio really left a lot of darkness in its wake. It's very dark. Venus has been in its fall and its detriment, basically. It's just been an ugly, ugly time for love and for kindness and for all of those things. And so I'm hoping now, with it going direct in Scorpio, things are going to finally improve, because it's going to move forward, and soon it'll even move out of Scorpio and into Sagittarius. So on the 19th, Mars is squared Jupiter. And, it's funny. That's a day where they're like, do not overestimate your abilities, your capabilities. Like, beware of the tendencies to do things big, maybe too big that day. And the funny thing is, Mars is up in your solar 10th house and Jupiter is in your solar 7th house. So, I'm just hoping, it might have something to do with your relationships and your career, or your relationships and your image, or something like that. It's a square. So that means it could be stressful. So just be aware of that. Don't try to do too much, and don't try to overdo that day. I think that would be a good idea. Don't promise more than you can deliver either that day. It's a good idea. Now, on the 20th, the sun is trine Chiron, and it just means it's a good day to heal. It's a really good day to heal. It's healing time. It's healing time. And Chiron is over in the 11th house. Maybe you'll be able to finally heal some of the issues that occurred with your friends. Because for some reason, with Chiron in the house of friends, I just feel like there's some pain in the house, in the area of your friends and groups you belong to and stuff like that. And, you may have, this will be a time finally around the 20th where things can heal. And since the sun is really up around the 7th house, 8th house at that time, you might even be able to heal your relationships, old wounds and pains and hurts and insecurities that have been plaguing you so long. You can finally let go of that. You can let go of your pain. And I have a feeling it's going to deal with areas of like your friends and your resources, or your friends and your marriage, or something like that. So hopefully you'll be able to heal that area and from this day forward, maybe move into a more positive place. On the 22nd, sun actually enters Sagittarius. So big things are popping. It is going to be again, more emphasis in your solar 8th house, resources, private, deep conversations, maybe even reconciliations. There could be legal paperwork even, things like taxes and papers and legal papers and stuff like that. But whatever goes on that day, since it's Sagittarius, it's going to be big. You know, the sun's going to be thinking big, doing big things. And so you could become a big thinker or big spender and want to do big things that day. So be aware of that. You know, with it being your house of resources, I just be aware of the money situation that day so that, you know, you don't overspend maybe or give away the bank. Now on the 22nd, there's going to be a full moon in Gemini. And that full moon in Gemini means that that's going to be a good day for thinking and processing and communicating and just really being very analytical, I think, and just thinking things through. And for you, Gemini falls in your solar second house. That's like your money, your actual possessions. And it could also mean that you could be emotional and, you know, what you give, you know, in everything, because it shows what you have to give and what you possess. So the full moon is going to be there. So it could be like your home, your car, your possessions, your money, things like that. But today, with the full moon in Gemini, what I wanted to point out is that, okay, so I've been talking a lot about this emphasis that you've got in the 8th house, but on this day, the emphasis is going to be in the 2nd house, which is the opposite, the polar opposite of, you know, there's 2nd and 8th. So there's going to be an opposition to the sun today. So be wary of getting into like philosophical arguments with people. And in your case, I feel like you need to be cautious about maybe arguing over things that you possess or don't possess, like money. And like if you owe someone money or someone owes you money or something like that. And also sex. I hate to say that, but you know, it might be that you're not, I don't know if you're over delivering or under delivering in that area. And so that might be something that pops up as well. Just don't get into like philosophical arguments or like political arguments and politics and, you know, just dogma. Avoid those kind of conversations today because they can be really draining on people. So try to avoid that. On the 24th, Neptune goes direct in Pisces. Now that's going to help with your friendships. If you didn't heal things on the 22nd with your friends and groups and associations and things, on the 24th, humanity returns on the 24th. So I would think that, you know, it's going to be more love and compassion. People are going to be able to talk to each other again, really feel like, you know, they can communicate with each other again. And maybe old hurts will finally be buried once and for all. On the 25th of November, the sun is conjunct Jupiter. That's very, very, very positive with the sun conjunct Jupiter. So it's time to grow. It's time to grow. It's time for things to get better, you know, because Jupiter is like in the solar 7th house, or basically they're both in your 8th house because did Jupiter go into? Yeah, I think it did, right? Jupiter, yeah, Jupiter's in Sag. So these are your 8th house. Wow, it's back into your 8th house again. So the sun is going to move, is conjunct Jupiter in your 8th house. And that's more of that resources again. That's more of those, you know, deep hidden conversations. You know, I have a feeling you might be hiding away a lot during the month, or, you know, talking privately, or doing things privately. Having sex privately, basically. And, you know, these are the things that could happen during the month. Now, this is said to be one of the luckiest days of all of 2018. So use it to your benefit. It's a very good day, and just enjoy the flow. It's a beautiful day. So, you know, enjoy that. That's the 25th. Now, on the 26th, Mercury is going to be square Mars, and there is a possibility of some miscommunications that day. And with Mercury, it's again in your solar 8th house. So, and Mars is in your solar 10th house. So, your career and your resources are going to be just a little bit square. There might be some issues there. And just realize that some people are not going to understand you today. And you might have some important things that you have to do at work that day. And there could be some miscommunications at work. And so just be aware of that, because that could easily happen for you. And not so much work, but just your career, your reputation, your image, because it's the 10th house, not the 6th. So just be aware that that could happen. On the 27th, Jupiter is conjunct the sun. Now, things are really getting big now. Like dreams are coming back now, and people are thinking very, very big now. And so this is the big dreamer aspect, the sun conjunct Jupiter. And in your case, we're looking at Jupiter and the sun once again in that solar 8th house. I swear, what are you going to do? Win the lotto? What is going on? So you got a lot of emphasis on your resources in the month. And it says you might want to double down and bet away the house today, but don't do it. Don't do that. Don't bet everything you own on a whim today. I mean, you might be lucky today, but then you might not. So I would not recommend you bet everything away today. But, it is in that 8th house of resources. And I'm just wondering if that's money or sex. It's one or the other. You could also be under this mistaken belief that you're invincible. I don't know if that means you're invincible in the area. You think you're invincible in the area of like maybe psychological warfare or something, because the 8th house does rule that as well. But maybe sex or, something. And maybe you feel like the day is the day I can do the impossible. But I just know it's just an aspect. You really can't do the impossible. It's really important to know that. And also on that day, the sun is conjunct Mercury. So you're going to be thinking big too. So you're going to be thinking, I can do this. I can jump over that. I can jump over that wall. No, you can't. You can't do that. You're 50-something years old. You shouldn't be jumping any walls. So anyway, it's good to know that this is not the day to go overboard, because there is a tendency to do that. And you might be thinking really big dreams and thoughts and got these great ideas. And, you might want to go and sex up everybody, because that is all happening in your 8th house. And, then you might not be able to do what you need to do. So just be cautious of thinking you can do more and be more than you really are that day, because that could happen. Now, on the 30th, Venus is opposition Uranus. And Venus is in your solar 6th house right now. And Uranus is in your solar 12th house. So there's a lot of craziness today. A lot of craziness. It could be happening at your work. You could just feel like psychologically unstable. You could wake up suddenly and realize, oh no, I lost the love of my life and I can never get them back. And then you go into like psychological meltdown or something, because love is on the rocks when Venus is opposed to Uranus. And it's a crazy day for love that day, but it's going to be a crazy day for you, because it's sort of near your descendant. Venus is, and Uranus is sort of near your 12th house cusp. So it should be a very interesting day for you. Don't try to make any sense of it. It's a transit. It's a transit. And try not to make promises that you can't keep today. Like you might say anything at all, to maybe get what you want, today, whether that's at love, or maybe your marriage, or your business partner, or something at work, any of your relationships, just be careful about crazy arguments, like just arguing for the sake of arguing that day. Because, especially with a loved one, because Venus opposed Uranus is just kind of like craziness with love. And so I hope that helps. That was November. It ends really sadly, right? But let's hope that there's nothing weird that happens in your work, or psychologically. This all might be happening psychologically, because that Uranus is going to be like technically in the solar 12th house. So it's going to be something that's happening in the deep recesses, the darkest corners of your soul, that type of thing. And really, when I look at this whole month for Taurus, the 8th house is also really deep introspection and just like privacy. And I feel like you might have just pulled away, or may pull away, to really reflect on life and those deep inner things that you need to really concentrate on in the month of November. And you might be doing that. So I hope I don't know who this reading was for, but sometimes I just sit here and look at the chart and just start spouting what comes to me. So I hope whatever I felt actually, helps somebody. Okay. Much love and light to all, everyone. This has been Capricorntigress from Astrology, a Look Inside. And happy Halloween and happy November to all. Bye now.